Hi, my name's Laura Jacob, registered dietitian with Christie Clinic, and I'm here at Common Ground Food Co-op classroom, and I'm going to be talking about turnips today. Turnips are very versatile vegetables. They are low in calories, so about one root is about 40 calories, so that's really good as compared to a potato. It's high in fiber, folate, potassium, vitamin C. I mean, it has kind of a unique flavor. It has a really earthy flavor, and you might compare it to something similar to cabbage or radish. So you can also eat the greens. So here are the turnip greens, and they're very nutritious, high in fiber, super low in calories. So about a cup of greens chopped up is 20 calories or less, high in fiber, potassium, folate, calcium, actually is a good source of calcium, and they're tasty as well. So it's one of those things you can eat the whole root and the greens. So you want to wash them and dry them, remove the roots before you cook them, or the leaves before you cook them. Wash and dry the greens just like you would any salad. To prepare them, you want to remove the roots, remove the top and the tail. And it depends on how you're going to cook them. You can just cut off the stem and the little root end. That part we're going to not eat, but pretty much everything else. And then just, you can roast them whole. You can eat them raw. You can eat them sliced raw, grated up, matchsticks. You could put them in a salad or as a slaw, or maybe shred it up and put on like a wrap or a taco or something like that. Would be tasty for a really unique flavor. You can boil them. You can steam them. You just want to do that until they're tender. You don't really have to peel them because the skin gets very soft. It's really almost not even much of a skin. So just keep all of the good nutrition there without actually having to peel it. Steam them, roast them. You can actually cube them and cook them in soup, or you can boil them and puree them up or mash them up really well and add them to a creamy soup, kind of as a thickener. They store pretty well. You want to put them in unwashed into a plastic bag in the refrigerator, 1 to 2 weeks. They'll last. Just leave the tops on when you're storing them. Most vegetables, if you wash them before you store them, they're going to go bad quicker. So wait until you're about ready to eat them to wash them, and just leave the little root on there and the stem on there. A little bit of the stem helps to retain moisture in a plastic bag, 1 to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. And then if you want to make them last longer, you can freeze them cubed up, cooked or raw in a plastic bag in the freezer. Today I'm making mashed turnips, and I'm actually putting a potato in there. So mashed turnips have kind of a different texture than mashed potatoes. They look a lot like mashed potatoes, but they're a little bit of a more watery texture, a little bit more fibrous texture. But a lot of people will add a potato to it just to get more of that mashed potato consistency. So I've got some boiling over here, but all you have to do this is just wash them, cut off the top and the little root, and just kind of dice them up to a good size that it won't, take forever to cook. So I'm just kind of cubing them up. Just want them to be kind of similar size so that they cook at about the same rate, get done at about the same time. Here I have another one. And pretty easy to cut. So I'm just gonna finish cutting up those. And then I've got a potato here. I'm gonna add a potato to that just for the kind of creamy, a little more starchy texture. So just peel your potato and cube it up, maybe a little bit smaller than the turnip. I think the potato potato cooks a little bit slower than a turnip, so you could cube it a little bit smaller so they get done at about the same time. So if you wanted, I guess you could leave the skin on the potato. Some people like to have mashed potatoes that have skin on them. So more fiber is always better. And then I'm just gonna cube that up. A little smaller than the turnip. And there we go. And then you would just put that into water, and then enough water to cover it by a few inches, and then heat it to boil. And then you want to turn it down to a simmer and just cook them until they are fork tender, and then you would drain them. And in the meantime, you would have some milk and butter already heated. It's not a requirement to heat it up ahead of time, but you can really, it helps to just keep your potatoes hot, or your turnips hot, sorry, while that they are, you know, so that you don't have to reheat them before you serve them. So now these are pretty tender, so I've got my milk and butter heated. I'm gonna add a little bit of sage to it. Just, you might use thyme or sage or rosemary or something like that. A little bit of, we'll save the salt and pepper for after they're mashed up. And I'm just gonna turn off the stove. And I'm gonna drain them over here in the sink. And make sure they're well drained, or you're gonna have some watery mashed turnips. And then I'll go ahead and add my butter and milk. I'm just gonna do a little at a time so I get it to the right consistency. And mash away till they get to a nice consistency. Maybe you like yours a little bit lumpy, maybe you like them really smooth. So that's your option there. You could also puree them. It would make a really nice puree, and then again, you can also add that to a soup or something to thicken it. So that's mashed turnips. Thank you for watching. My name is Laura Jacob, registered dietitian at Christie Clinic, and hope to see you next time.